President calls for public support to eradicate the drug menace in the country. Prime Minister requests voters to go to the polls early in the morning because the situation may get unpredictable towards the evening. 54 former parliamentarians expelled from the United National Party. Local government representatives also expelled, says Akila Viraj Karyavasam. Details of a mysterious murder of a billionaire in Kolpiti resurfaces as a result of a land dispute in Nittambua. An elephant escapes from Pinewood.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on Election First. On to your lead story now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa attended several public meetings today, organized to promote several SLPP candidates of the Colombo district. The President sought the support of the general public to eradicate the drug menace, requesting the masses to step forward and divulge information regarding illegal drug records.
The President attended a public meeting in Thalawattugoda organised by former Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. While hardships endured by the public were presented to the President comprehensively, attendees had requested the President to ensure the youth are safeguarded from narcotics. The President has also instructed authorities to procure products from local manufacturers when acquiring furniture for state institutions. The President also attended a public meeting in Battanamulla organised by candidate of the SLPP, Jagat Kumara. Those present at the meeting had suggested the President suspend funding for the maintenance of inmates in prisons, instead initiate an economic program where inmates would be required to generate funding for the maintenance of prisons. Another request made from the President was to lessen the weight of the school bag carried by an average school student and to introduce a lighter bag. Several former UNP members, including former Provincial Councillor K. Tilakaratna, a member of the UNP for 47 years, pledged their support towards the President's program. Later, the President attended another meeting organised by SLPP candidate Madura Vithanage at the premises of the Kotte Municipal Council. Speaking at the meeting, the President has pledged to provide the maximum possible relief to depositors of ATI. The policy statement of Madura Vithanage was presented to the President. Subsequently, the President joined a meeting which was organised in Moratuwa by SLPP candidate Saman Lal Fernando. The President also attended a meeting in Nugegoda to show his support to SLPP candidate Janaka Ranawaka.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa requested the general public to cast their votes early on in the morning at the general election.
We had excelled in every sector, including the economy. However, we had to embark on an era where every sector was downgraded. Do not waste your valuable vote. Go to the polling station early in the morning. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what would happen in the evening. The following views were expressed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at a public meeting held in Mawatagama to ensure the victory of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramana at the 2020 general election.
The report presented by the committee appointed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has revealed a financial fraud of 11 billion rupees that has taken place in the Central Cultural Fund from 2016 to 2019.
The report of the committee appointed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to investigate the activities of the Central Cultural Fund was handed over today. According to the report, a loss of 2.6 billion rupees due to the withdrawal of fixed deposits without obtaining approval and loss of interest income on deposits, 753 million rupees for the construction under the Sisudaham 7 program without legal approval, the loss incurred in converting the revenue of tourist tickets from US dollars to rupees was 48 million rupees. 2.266 billion rupees was spent on other illegal activities without contributing to the Archaeological Trust. The loss incurred during the transfer of property under the Apegama project was 8 million rupees. The fund has also lost 2.3 billion rupees provided as cultural assistance and grants without obtaining proper approval. The committee report states that 3.06 billion rupees has been spent on salaries and allowances for informal recruitments exceeding the approved limit recruits. Accordingly, the Prime Minister's office issuing a statement said that the committee report has revealed misappropriation of 11 billion rupees. The committee also recommended that legal action be taken against the parties involved in the financial and administrative irregularities that have taken place at the Central Cultural Fund. Also, a statement issued by the Prime Minister's office said that money had been illegally withdrawn from the dollar account held by the Central Cultural Fund. The committee has also revealed that 400 million rupees was released from the standing account during the previous presidential election without obtaining approval. The committee comprises retired High Court Judge Gamini Sarath Edirisinghe, retired Secretary to the Ministry Gotabe Jayaratna, and Attorney at Law Harigupta Rohanadira.
While the Prime Minister investigates the misappropriation that has allegedly taken place at the Central Cultural Fund, no arrests have been made about the destruction of the antiquities in Kurunegala. An order has been issued to the Mayor of Kurunegala and the Governor to hand over the relevant documents to the court. The order was issued based on a request made by the Attorney General.
This order was issued to the Kurunegala Mayor following an application made by the Attorney General, and the application highlighted 10 specific documents. The Kurunegala Magistrate ordered the Governor of the Northwestern Province to hand over all files and minutes of the City Development Committee to the safe custody of court.
Kurunegala district candidate of the National People's Power Namal Karunaratne filed a writ petition with the Court of Appeal seeking the immediate arrest of the Mayor of Kurunegala about the demolition of a building in Kurunegala with archaeological value. Acting IGP Police OIC of Kurunegala, Director General of Archaeology, Attorney General and the Kurunegala Municipal Council have been named as respondents.
The mayor admitted that it was demolished. Once he admitted it, the current government appointed a committee to cover it up. What should have happened is not appointing a committee. According to the Antiquities Ordinance, once an antiquity is destroyed, if there is a complaint concerning the person in question, action should be taken based on that.
The
girl who damaged the Sigiriya rock was arrested. Action was taken against boys who took photographs atop the Pridurangala rock. When there is a strict law when it comes to conserving antiquities, those who bulldoze the archaeological site are still out in the open. Let's assume that this is not an assembly hall of King Bonekabahu. Even if it is not, this is a historic site. This was built before the 2nd of March 1815. You cannot remove anything from an antiquity that dates back to more than 100 years. They are going to conserve this using 9 million rupees. If this is not an important building, or if this has not been there for more than 100 years, why are they spending so much to conserve this? What are they trying to do? We can clearly say that this government does not respect the culture of this country. They do not respect our Buddha Sasana and even our ancestors. The country's history is being changed in a bid to safeguard who caused this destruction. There will be consequences if somebody tries to change the Antiquities Ordinance. This is a very powerful ordinance. If somebody harms an archaeological statue, it can be considered a non-bailable offence. That is how crucial it is. Even when a murder is committed, you can apply for bail in 14 to 15 days, but you cannot apply for bail that easily if you destroy an item which is of archaeological value. So it's suspicious as to why they are trying to change such a powerful ordinance.
It has been 14 days since the archaeological site in Kurunegala was demolished. Where are those responsible?
Several factions have condemned the move to fire tear gas on a group of Sri Lankan migrant workers stranded in the Middle East due to unemployment. Tear gas was fired when the group of Sri Lankans tried to hold discussions with the officers of the Sri Lankan embassy in Jordan.
Tear gas was fired by Jordanian security forces at around 4 p.m. Jordanian time yesterday at 700 Sri Lankan migrant workers who have lost their jobs at the Camel and Vega factory in Karak, Jordan. Although the group has made several pleas to repatriate them to Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan embassy in Jordan has continuously requested for more time. Since there was no proper solution, the group of migrant workers had decided to meet the heads of the factory and embassy officials yesterday. The embassy officials had then informed a representative will discuss with the migrant workers in this regard. 3 officers of the labour section of the Sri Lankan embassy in Amman, Jordan, met with the unemployed migrant workers. An embassy official had said that he felt dizzy when hearing the grievances of Sri Lankans who had lost their jobs. Tear gas was fired at the Sri Lankan migrant workers when the embassy officials were leaving. They said around 20 of them were immediately admitted to hospital following respiratory difficulties. The migrant workers who were employed at the Camel and Vega factory were made redundant on the 17th of March. Owners of the factory had requested these Sri Lankans to resign while promising to repatriate them to Sri Lanka soon after the 17th of April. The group had agreed with the hope of returning to their homeland. However, these Sri Lankans have not received a salary for the past 4 months and they only receive 2 meals a day. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan embassy in Jordan has issued a statement in response to this incident. The statement notes the labour staff of the embassy of Sri Lanka who visited the Camel and Vega factory in Karak to look into the welfare of the Sri Lankan migrant workers last morning were held hostage for over 5 hours by a group of unemployed migrant workers, demanding they be immediately repatriated to Sri Lanka. The statement goes on to note the Jordanian police was called in to defuse the situation at the factory and for the embassy officials to be released. According to the statement, the embassy officials had distributed 375 packs of dry rations and sanitary items at the same factory on the 22nd of July.
That statement is false. 5 months later, we received small packs like this as welfare, and that was also 5 months later. We haven't received the money. We brought them here yesterday expecting a response from them for the request we have made. We are very helpless. We don't have a single cent left with us. You can decide if we can live with just a pack like this.
The innocent women who are stranded in the Middle East send foreign remittances to the country. For a year, $7 billion is sent to the country. They are unemployed and they do not have food to eat. They have no shelter. The same issue was reported from Jordan as well. For 5 months, those innocent women told his government. Even we informed the government. We met with the Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Relations and informed them in this regard. Those women are being assaulted in Jordan now. It was not the Jordan police who wanted to attack them. It was the Sri Lankan government who gave instructions. They have fired tear gas, the typical Sri Lankan style. The Sri Lankan government has used the same method of assaulting women in Sri Lanka and applied it in Jordan. When the officer in charge of labour at the Sri Lankan embassy in Jordan, Ramindu Ambepala, was there, these people were attacked. The Foreign Affairs Ministry and the Ministry in charge of labour have not taken any action in this regard. We believe that the issue of thousands of migrant workers cannot be solved by just submitting documents. The government has to intervene immediately.
According to the statistics of the Foreign Employment Bureau, the number of Sri Lankan migrant workers is around 1.2 million. Last year alone, migrant workers have earned remittances of $7 billion to Sri Lanka.
During the past 2 days, we had temporarily halted repatriation of Sri Lankans from foreign nations. This is due to the incident that took place at the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre. We are hoping to make room for more repatriates from other countries at the quarantine centres. We have planned to repatriate Sri Lankan migrant workers from Dubai on the 31st of July and the 1st of August. Thereafter, based on the information we received from other authorities, we will make plans to expedite the process of bringing down the remaining Sri Lankans. We will do this as soon as we get recommendations from the Sri Lanka Army and the health authorities.
The Working Committee of the United National Party has expelled 54 of its members who have obtained nominations from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya for the upcoming general election. Additionally, the Working Committee of the UNP has also expelled 62 of its local government members. Now, this was confirmed by the General Secretary of the United National Party, Akli Viraj Kariwasam, at a media briefing today.
The Working Committee decided to suspend the membership of 54 out of the 102 members who left the United National Party and obtained membership of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. Membership of 62 local government members has also been suspended. I will be issuing the letters tomorrow. We will also hand over the list of the suspended members to the National Election Commission. We will send the name list of the members who will replace the ones who were expelled.
පක්ෂයේ පොඩි ලොකු නෑ විනයදී. විනය හැමෝටම එකයි.
ඒකමතුමාලා 54 දෙනා අතර සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ නායක සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්තයාත් ඉන්නවද?
මම ඒක හෙට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නම් අපි 54 දෙනාගේ නාම ලේඛනය සහ ඉතුරු ඔක්කොම හෙට ඉදිරිපත්
නෑ එක ළමයි ඔබතුමාගේ
නෑ මම එකක්වත් දැන් දෙන්නේ නෑ මොකද
No, nothing will be done today. We have received approval now. We will inform you the details tomorrow once the letters are ready. This list includes the name of the Valigama Urban Council Chairman of the Gampal Urban Council and the Navalapiti Urban Council are also included in the list.
They now say that the police will be deployed. Yes, we remember how the police were deployed while reaching a deal with Mahinda. After reaching a deal with Mahinda and Ranil, we remember how they put tar when the UNPers were about to leave. The police were also deployed. We are with the Samagi Jana Balawegaya today. This is where the UNP is and this is where the green is. What UNP has is an ugly green color. It is tainted by thieves. Among the very few that left there, one person arrived in a helicopter. Just imagine the amount of money they must have laundered to travel in a helicopter. A son of a former president still travels in a vehicle. Yesterday, the Pradesh Sabha members were given the final notice. We tell Ranil Wickramasinghe that the UNPers will give you your final notice.
Over the past few days, many candidates became emotional while delivering speeches at various public meetings. Shashindra Rajapaksa, who is a Monragala district group leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, criticized such emotional speeches. However, during a meeting held yesterday, he extended a public apology over his remarks.
A leader from the Puttalam district who has been in politics for nearly 30 years is crying at the meeting. We don't know the reason. He should have cried with us in 2015. If he did that today, he could have entered the stage smiling as a person representing Mahinda's faction. There is no use in lamenting now. I'm sure their past actions bring them to tears. We cannot help it. There is someone who should be killed before the 5th. There is no point shooting lizards. Waste of a bullet. Do not be deceived by these. These are ploys. Not only him, but his general secretary also cried as well. I will bet you anything, their heads, the one in Polonnaruwa, will also cry very soon. There is nothing to do but weep now.
Shashendra Rajapaksa extended an apology for making such a speech during a meeting held last night at the premises of the Monoragala Public Fair.
There are journalists here. I spoke yesterday regarding a person who cried during a speech. I would like to apologize for that. The minute I say it, they publicize them. Then I get scolded from my leaders. As a group leader, there is no point in not mentioning these either.
Amidst many promises made during election campaigns, providing water takes center stage. However, this story highlights the plight of the people who do not have access to clean drinking water.
Residents of Palle Mulana Madamulana in the Hambantota district travel for days on end to obtain drinking water for their daily needs. People living on either side of the Veerakatiya Katugampotha road arrive at the only well situated in the village, carrying several water canisters, not only to obtain water for consumption but also for other daily needs.
This is the only well we have to obtain water from. The water inside the well becomes muddy when it rains.
But the villagers claim the water obtained contains high salinity.
We are suffering without water. This is the manner in which we obtain water. But you will get sick if you drink this water. Most people in this area have bladder stones due to the consumption of this water. They are undergoing operations.
According to the villagers, the surrounding villagers have access to water obtained from tube wells, but they do not have the luxury as there is no adequate capacity. Having access to clean drinking water is only but a distant dream for these villagers.
There are some people who have not had access to water in their entire lifetime. The water we receive is salty. If we cook rice from the water, the rice turns red. Nobody listens to our grief. Maybe the president has not heard of this village, but we ask from him to give us water.
The only wish of those in Madamulana is for their grief to be heard by authorities and their issues to be addressed.
මිනිස්සු අසරණ වෙච්ච වෙලාවේ වියදම් නොකරපු එවුන් අද මේ වෙනකොට කෝටි ගණන් වියදම් කළා මිනිස්සුන්ගෙන් ඡන්ද ඉල්ලනවා. අපි මේ 2020වත් අඩුම තරමේ වෙනස් මගකට යා යුතු කාලේ එළඹිලා කියන එක තමයි මගේ පෞද්ගලික මතය. මේ දේශපාලඥයෝ ඡන්දය දෙනකොට මම තවත් දැනගෙන අවුරුදු 55න් එහා කිසි කෙනෙකුට ඡන්දය දෙන්න එපා. මිනිස් හදවත් අඳුනන පොළොවේ පය ගහලා ඉන්න රට ගැන කැක්කුමක් තියෙන රට ගැන හැඟීමක් තියෙන ඒක මොන දේශපාලන පක්ෂද කියන එක නෑ මේ රට හදන්න මේ මෙච්චර මහන්සි වෙන්න ඕනද කො අවුරුදු 72ක් රට හැදුවද මුන් රට කෑවා මිසක් ජනතා පරමාධිපත්‍ය තමන්ගේ තියෙන බලය අපි නිසි විදියට කළමනාකාරීලා කරලා මේ සැරේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන.
We want a clean parliament. We want a clean government. Think before you vote.
Newsfirst reported of a land dispute in Nithambua yesterday. As of now, two parties lay claim to this 32-acre land. But the issue at hand is not about who owns the property. The issue at hand is what happened to the owner of the property. The legal owner of this property, a billionaire businessman, was killed in Kolpiti at the start of this year. Is it a property dispute that lingers behind this murder mystery?
Christopher Asoka Dasanayake was a billionaire who owned many valuable properties. He was brutally attacked at his luxurious house located on the Colonel T.J. Jayawardena Mawatha in Colombo 3 on the 15th of January this year. Media reported that Ashoka, who suffered severe stab injuries and gunshot wounds from this attack, succumbed to his injuries after 4 days in hospital. In 2006, his son was killed in an accident in the United States of America. His wife had also passed away after being ill in Sri Lanka, and the businessman had lived by himself afterwards. Print media reported this May that a former lieutenant in the Sri Lanka army and 2 more people were arrested over the murder of the deceased businessman. This footage we aired yesterday shows the luxurious house of the billionaire businessman in Colombo 3. In addition to these properties, the deceased businessman owned the 32-acre land in Nittambo as well. Following his death, his house in Kolpiti is occupied by an individual named Andrew Samarakon. The land dispute had occurred between this same individual and another individual by the name of Dhanasiri Vijayasinghe, who claims to be a distant relative of Asoka Dasanayake. Dhanasiri Vijayasinghe claims that the ownership of the land was granted to him by a gift deed.
The story started actually 6 months ago with the murder of my uncle Asoka Dasanayake. The murder happened in January, and since January I have been looking after Uncle Asoka's properties, because not only am I an heir, I'm also the administrator of his estate. This guy is claiming a 2008 deed. That's what I have, a 2016 Bimsavi. So this deed is basically proves my right to this land. What they are showing is a 2008 deed, which they haven't even shown in court yet. What they did with this deed was put a 66 application against me, saying that they own this property. Basically, we made the complaint in the morning to the police. The police said the owner must come with his documents showing his ownership and make a police complaint. The police said, we will send a car first, tell them that you are coming, and after that you can come. When we rocked up at the property, there was this whole shebang of louts I've never seen in my life. He claims to be an owner. He's my watcher, or he's my uncle's watcher. Gave him retirement 3 years ago. We felt sorry for them and let them stay. We should have evicted them then. But then we went through the legal route, which is an eviction case, which we have against him. I wasn't going there to kick them out. That is the accusation they're making. We've come to take them out. No, I came to enter my bungalow. I'm worried they've stolen all my old things from my bungalow. That's what they did last time.
The current occupant of the property, Dhanasiri Vijayasinghe, opposed the behavior of Andrew Samarakon when he entered the property with police officers attached to the Nittambo police station last weekend.
When they went, we were not in any way or form trying to get them out. Also, you can't get people out like that. It's a legal case. Fiscal will come put them out one day when we win our case. They're super worried of losing this case. They're also super worried about losing all these cases. Because this is not just one case. This is yesterday's incident. But the real story here is, this is a huge gang of fake deed operators, including a big political arm, including big powerful forces. The first thing that has to be done is justice for the murder. The murder inquest will be handled by the police and the CID, so that's fine. I will concentrate on looking after his estate, which this gang is trying to illegally conquer. That is the end result you saw yesterday, where they know they have lost. The magistrate court, the magistrate at the Kurunegala courts has given an order saying this guy is just a Murakarua. He has no Naitika Hika, which means he has no lineage, no power to this land. Continue with the case. He cannot take any produce from this estate. As soon as he got that order, or we got that order, all hell broke loose, because he realized, the gangs realized who he's been talking to, or these big politicians who he's been talking to realized, oh no, this guy is not really an owner. So now they are stuck. They have nothing better to do. So they started attacking us.
This land is owned by my father. A group of people are trying to capture this land by force. His name is Andrew Samarakon. He made death threats to us as well. He set up a security firm in this property called Centrico. What we say is police should carry out their duties without being biased. What would happen to our deed if they are trying to capture our land by force? We are protected because of the court order. We have obtained a restraining order from court. The justice is not crazy to give us an order if we do not have a legal deed. We have informed the higher-ups in the police department regarding this. So why can't these people adhere to that? They come with the police. They pushed my wife. Can police officers do that?
Dhanasiri Vijayasinghe and his son Tilanga Bandara remains in remand custody as of now over the land dispute that transpired over the previous weekend.
Steps were taken to produce them in court yesterday under the charges of obstruction of duty, harassment and causing injury. Also, steps have been taken to keep them in remand custody until the 4th of August. The Nittambu police hopes to produce the video recording against them as evidence in court.
Two parties lay claim to a valuable property owned by the deceased businessman. Amidst all this, the murder of Christopher Ashoka Dasanayaka remains a mystery.
Former Director of the State Intelligence Service Nilantaja Ordinance said a person identified as Naufu Maulavi was the mastermind behind the 2019 April 21st attacks.
Testifying at the Presidential Commission probing the 2019 April attacks, former Director of the State Intelligence Service Nilantha Jayawardena said Zaharan Hashim, who led the group that carried out the bombings, was not the mastermind of the carnage. Instead, he identified a person known as Naufar Maulavi, who was in Qatar for 19 years and had maintained international links as the mastermind behind the bombings. Naufar Maulavi is currently under the custody of the authorities. The former SIS director also told the Commission that he had informed the Chief of National Intelligence at the time, Sisira Mendis, regarding the threat of a terrorist attack 10 months prior to the incident. Upon being questioned by the Commission, he conceded sharing of intelligence information between local units had, however, not taken place in a proper manner during his term in office. The witness also said in 2018 he had informed the Law and Order Minister at the time, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, about the need for a law to regulate the construction of all religious places of worship. He said the establishment of ministries for each religion under the previous government allowed subject ministers to promote the construction of more places of worship relating to their faiths without following a proper procedure. Along the same lines, the witness told the Commission foreign funding was received for the construction of certain mosques and these transactions had not taken place through official bank accounts.
Let's now take a look at some of the views expressed in the political arena leading up to the 2020 general election.
2020.
Which horse would you bet your money on? The winning horse or the losing horse?
එහෙනම් මේ පාර දිනන්නේ කොයි පක්ෂද? පෝට්ටුව. එහෙනම් ඔයගොල්ලන් දෙන්න යන්නේ? එහෙනම් අපි ඉස්සර.
Then let us all wake up early in the morning and make the flower bud victorious.
ගිහලා පෝට්ටුව දිනවමු.
Ranil Mahat. There won't be a Mahinda Rajapaksa if not for Ranil Wickremesinghe. Ranil is the biggest support system for Mahinda to be in power. You will realize once the cabinet is appointed that it is the Rajapaksas who control 100% of the economy. People around will not get anything.
ආර්ථිකෙන් 199 නෙවෙයි 100%ම පාලනය කරන්නේ. ඔය වටේ යන ඇයට රොඩ්ඩක්වත් නැයි කියලා තේරෙයි.
එහෙනම් ජාත්
A national government is a national program. When we reach an agreement, we can work for this nation. With that national program, we can work towards the betterment of the nation. In January 2015, we formed a cabinet of 40. The matter pertaining to 113 is irrelevant.
We do not have people who protect thieves and people who strike deals. Now it is a joint effort that they have launched. People in the flower bud laments for the people in the UNP. They cannot form the 113. That is why they are going for a national government.
තමන්ගේ ව්‍යාපාරේ පටන් අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ජාතික ආණ්ඩුවකට යනවා කියන්නේ 113 හදාගන්න බෑ ආණ්ඩුවට.
Usually when someone leaves you, you have no intention of taking them back. Therefore I ask you, will you vote for the people who left? Do not elect such people to parliament.
ඔබගෙන් අහනවා දාලා ගියේ උන්ට මනාප ගහනවද? එහෙම අය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එවන්න නැතුව ඉන්න ඔබේ ආදරණීය කතිරේ ගහන්න ඕන.
Some people are of the view we did not bring tamarind. If it was not for us, the final decision at the presidential election would have been different. Some people have forgotten that it was through my letter that we stopped the departure of 58 MPs. But the people of this country still remember that.
සමහර අයට අමතක වෙලා තිබෙනවා. නමුත් මේ රටේ ජනතාවට ඒක මතකයි.
A government such as this cannot be found anywhere in the world. The 15 that is there in the cabinet are worthless. The people have to understand that the Rajapaksas brought forth nothing but destruction over the past 8 months. Why would you vote for these people?
මොකටද? දැන් ඡන්දේ ප්‍රයෝජනයක් තමුන්ට තියෙනවද? දැන් සැපද කියලා අහනවා.
The Rajapaksas are celebrating because others are fighting. It is being said that Ranil goes to Mahinda's and Gotabe's house at night. Mahinda Rajapaksa wants a two-third majority. Even if we eat too much, we suffer from nausea. If maximum power is given, the suffering is also high.
ජනතාවට තමයි අමාරු. අධික බලයක් දුන්නොත් අධික වද වේදනා විඳින්න වෙනවා රටට.
There is no point in saying anything to the JVP. Ranil Wickramasinghe has removed a part of the JVP. They have been stranded with the compass. Wake up early on the 5th and go to the polling station and vote for the SLPP. You can use your preferential votes.
The requests have not been granted even by now. I would like to say, after Sajid Premadasa becomes the Prime Minister, we will pay the salaries of the war heroes who were injured from the bullets and bombs of Karunamman and the LTTE after they passed the age of 55 years.
The people have no faith in this government. They promised goods like dal and salmon would be provided at a concessionary price. They cannot control the economy of the country, but they can come before you and talk about other things.
2020. Two elephants of the Pinewood Elephant Conservatory have escaped the reserve today.
According to our correspondent, the two elephants had escaped when being taken to bathe this morning. The two elephants include Rangiri and another elephant. Officers of the Pinewood Elephant Conservatory stated that the two animals have escaped to the Hiriwadunna Andirimada area following a fight. Even though the authorities have managed to tame one elephant, they have failed in their attempts to tame Rangiri. Our correspondent reported that because of this incident, several cultivations, a house and construction sites of the area were damaged. However, in the end, the physicians and staff of the Pinewood Elephant Conservatory were able to bring Rangiri back to the conservatory after taming and tranquilizing it. Officers of the Pinewood Elephant Conservatory pointed out that the elephants managed to escape since they were unchained as per international laws.
Party leaders. Political update.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya attended a public rally in Dehiwala yesterday.
What was the image they created during the presidential election? They said they will change the government and end the drug menace in the country. It is unfortunate to say that instead of the drug menace being reduced, it has increased. Drug dealers are operating island-wide through easy cash methods and by involving school children as well. Amongst a shameful, unfortunate backdrop like this, an entire generation of children is close to being ruined. Just wait and see. Once the Samagi Jana Balawegaya comes into power, we will launch a national program and implement the law properly to eradicate the drug menace from the country.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena attended a public rally held in Moragaswaba, Habarana yesterday.
මොරගහකන්ද ජලාශයේ තමුන්නාංශලාට එන ප්‍රතිඵලය
You will receive the result of the Moragahakanda reservoir in another 4 to 5 years. Nobody tells you this. Especially the Ellanga system lies within the plan of the Moragahakanda reservoir. Those are the small-scale wavers in villages. They are in formation of a chain from the main reservoir. The Ihala Alahara Mahala and the Vaimba Mahala will be formed by the Moragahakanda reservoir. In the coming years, we have to renovate the wavers in your areas. They have to be connected to the branches. It will be I who will be in charge of development in Polonnaruwa even after the 5th of August.
In all my life, I have been campaigning for a Sri Lankan nationality, which is an inclusive one. We campaign on the platform of inclusive nationalism.
Is it a minority want, or is it what we want as a nation?
So at any point, if this country or all of us can get together, can eliminate this.
This majoritarian sort of way of manipulating votes is what has got us to this position.
Repeat telecast of Face the Nation tomorrow at 10 p.m. on Election First.
A pedestrian, a husband and wife lost their lives in a tragic accident which occurred in Karamada, Geli Oya along the Peradeniya Gampola road. The deceased pedestrian was struck by a motorcycle before being run over by a three-wheeler.
The accident occurred around 6 last evening. The pedestrian and a married couple travelling in a three-wheeler lost their lives as a result of the incident. The deceased is a husband and a wife aged 53 and 54 respectively, who are residents of Wellamboda, and a 54-year-old resident of Gelioya. The rider of the motorcycle and 3 others who sustained injuries following the accident has been admitted to the Kandy National Hospital for further treatment. The driver of the three-wheeler has been arrested by the Peradeniya police.
Chief Operating Officer of the Advocata Institute, Dhananath Fernando, expressed the following views on the import restrictions imposed by the government.
Imports are the main source of income for the government. If you look at the 2018 data, 49% of the government revenue is based on imports. Even if you look at the fiscal mid-year fiscal report from the Treasury for the first 4 months from January to April, more than 50% of the government income is from the import order at the border. On one hand, there will be a big revenue loss for the government when we control imports. That's one side. The confectionery industry announced that the difficulties that they are facing because of the unavailability of the ingredients, and at the same time one of the main manufacturers in Sri Lanka informed because of absence of some of the ingredients they have cut down their production in 90%. In the handloom industry they can't bring the yarn, so they are facing many challenges. This import controls on all the good items and all the commodities will have a severe impact on the government revenue as well as on our local manufacturing.
So the Lakshman estate is where this incident happened, where this rare black leopard got caught in a snare and it died. So why we are going to Lakshman is to understand, first of all, how it happened, and most importantly, why it happened.
Snares are now a threat for leopards that we will really need to seriously consider.
It's obviously it's a nasty death. It can be a very nasty death because it can take a long time.
So we have limited stock and we can't attend everywhere.
A multitude of misdealings which occurred within Sri Lanka cricket were highlighted by the forensic audit as well as COPE over the past few months.
At a management meeting held on the 17th of June, Sri Lanka cricket authorities had sought permission to sign an agreement which would disallow members of the executive committee and employees of Sri Lanka cricket to divulge information to other parties. We previously reported that a proposal was submitted to the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket on the 30th of March 2019 that a stock of goods including documents should be destroyed based on a recommendation of the Legal Division that there is no obligation to provide information older than 10 years under the Right to Information Act. The audit report also revealed that the authorities of Sri Lanka Cricket had not taken the necessary steps to store vital and important documents in a systematic manner. The audit also revealed that Sri Lanka Cricket had incurred a financial loss of $182,242,111 in awarding the tender for the transfer of television broadcasting rights from 2013 to 2020. The response by those at SLC to this observation is also mentioned in the audit report. It reads that officials of the SLC have accepted these observations. Accordingly, the financial loss to Sri Lanka Cricket from the sale of broadcasting rights in 2013 was approximately 2.73 billion rupees. The current CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket, who has virtuously acknowledged that a financial loss of 2.7 billion rupees was incurred, had signed the final documents of the tender process for awarding the broadcasting rights as the acting CEO of SLC. It should be reminded that Ashley De Silva was the CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket when details came to the fore that a sum of $187 million due to Sri Lanka for broadcasting rights had been transferred to an American account. The current secretary of Sri Lanka Cricket was the vice president of Sri Lanka Cricket and a member of the tender committee at the time this controversial tender process took place. Newsfirst also reported on a prior occasion that the secretary of SLC had provided false statements to Parliament while paying a commission of $339,025 for the Nidhas Trophy. Shami Silva, who was the treasurer of SLC when many missed deals such as the Cricket Aid Fund, Kandy Cricket Campus and granting local broadcasting rights took place, is now the chairman of Sri Lanka Cricket. Is it not a cause for concern that no individual has been brought before the law until now, although a plethora of corrupt activities which took place within SLC have been exposed? Minister of Sports, for your attention.
And that's the wrap of this edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mazra Hassan with our sign language interpreter, Brian D. Cruz. We leave you tonight with the Nagdim Sri Lanka song. Take care and good night.
Nagitimu, Sri Lanka.